Breaking the cycle of violence between children and animals is very, very important. Our roots go back to 1881 when we were actually involved in women, children, and animals and the abuse. But as a result, we now have agencies specifically focused, and we enjoy a very respectful partnership with them. The link between child abuse and animal cruelty means that every report and investigation of either needs to be appropriately pursued. The most vulnerable of our population are those who do not have a voice. Dogs and cats can't pick up the phone and dial 911, and in many cases children don't have access to be able to do the same thing. So it's very important that if you are a witness, to report abuse. And also this cross-reporting component that is mandatory here in the state of Connecticut is rare. There are very few states where it's imposed statutorily. It's a best practice, but it's not commonly done in Connecticut. And pets and people are fortunate that we have this cross-reporting component. Connecticut Humane Society envisions a state where companion animals find a permanent, forever home, where communities are enriched by the special bond between people and animals, and where animal cruelty no longer exists. We hope that day is getting closer and closer, and again, there's going to be some information that the commissioner has already mentioned. Statistically, we spend less time having to explain why we do what we do. It's putting the pieces together for law enforcement, social workers, the court systems to take this very seriously, and that there are partners across the state that try to put all these pieces of the puzzle together to make this happen. Thank you.
Appreciate all those words and the work that the Connecticut Humane Society does. Next up, we have our partner in the state, our friends at the Department of Children and Families, and Ken Meiskeland is the Chief of External Affairs for DCF, and it's really nice that we have, on an annual basis, gotten together with our sister agency to share our work and to highlight the importance of it. So Ken, please come on up.
Thank you and good morning, everybody. This is a really great day for not only kids and animals, but for the entire state. And often when we talk at the department, we ask ourselves, well, if kids were out there and they heard us talking about them, what would they say? What would they think? Well, today we're going to extend that to say, well, what would the kids and the animals think that we're doing here today? And what is our message? You know, there's an African proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child. And at DCF, we say it takes a village to protect a child. It takes a village to protect a child and animals. And we don't take that lightly. You know, 35 years ago, I started with the department. We didn't understand the link. We didn't talk. We didn't have this collaboration. What we know now is those who are violent, they don't discriminate between children or adults or the elderly or animals. And today we're calling attention to that. Commissioner Hurlbert gave some statistics earlier. I want to add just a few things to that. 50% of kids in a home where domestic violence is present reported that the abuser threatened to harm or kill their animals as a way to keep them silenced and to regain that control. 43% of school shooters in the United States over a certain period of time had histories of animal abuse when you check back in their histories. And lastly, 70% of people who commit crimes against animals have histories of other offenses. Connecticut's way of addressing problems is doing exactly what we do here today. It's the collaboration among state agencies, state, local, and municipal authorities to not deny that there's a problem, but certainly do something about that problem. We're a leader nationally in this regard, and we're certainly very, very proud of our work. Here's where the cross-reporting comes in. In 2024, last calendar year, DCF received 90 reports from animal control officers. The year before that was 92. That means an animal control officer went to a home, noticed a problem with an animal, but realized there were kids in that home and cross-reported to us. About another 100 times, our social workers were in a home where we had concerns about child maltreatment, recognized there could be a problem with a pet, and cross-reported back. Those are huge statistics, but again, a demonstration now of how seriously we're taking this problem. We have cross-reporting liaisons across the state. We have cross-reporting is now part of our mandated reporter training that thousands of professionals every year take. We have forms, we have protocols internally, and we also submit an annual report to the legislature regarding our cross-reporting, not just requirements, but the outcomes of our work. So for anybody who is out there and hearing our voices, it's really very simple. If you see a concern with a child, call us. If there is a concern with a child and a pet, call us. If you're concerned about a pet, call the Department of Agriculture or your local animal control officer. Don't wait. It's not until somebody knocks on that door that we can get in and truly understand the conditions under which the kids and the pets, and for that matter, anybody else in that home are residing. So thank you very much. We are certainly very honored to be here today.
That helps explain the role of the partnership. And next up from the Department of Agriculture, our state Chief Animal Control Officer, Chief Baker. Chief Baker has a long career at both the municipal animal control level and now at the state animal control level. She was elevated to the role of chief just about over a year ago, where she's been able to bring on new staff, implement new technologies, and do some of the review work that our cross-reporting requires. So Chief Baker, please, you're next.
My name is Kelly Baker, Kelli, and I am the Chief State Animal Control Officer. So I'm grateful to be here today representing the State Animal Control Unit and the dedicated animal control officers across Connecticut who show up every day to protect animals and, by extension, people. Others have already explained the legal side of cross-reporting and the connection between animal cruelty and family violence. I'd like to talk about what this collaboration looks like in practice. In 2024, even with our unit short 3 state animal control officers for part of the year, the State Animal Control Unit conducted 1,250 inspections. We opened 541 cases and investigated 88 animal cruelty complaints. We currently have about 50 open cases we're working on. We also assisted municipal animal control officers with their investigations 51 times, because working together makes us stronger. It's worth noting that there are just 7 state animal control officers. This number reflects an incredible amount of work done by a small but dedicated team. Each one of those cases represents more than a file. It's a neglected pet, a concerned citizen, a frightened child, or a struggling family, and the response team that showed up. When DCF sends us a report, or we send one to DCF, it isn't just paperwork, it's action. It's a system working as it should because someone cared enough to speak. I'm proud of the broader work we've done too. This past year, we've welcomed 3 state animal control officers. We've expanded our annual municipal animal control training programs, and we've stayed focused on consistency, professionalism, and compassion in every case that we take on. To the advocates, partners, and agencies here today, thank you. Whether you're in the field, in the courtroom, or in the community, you are part of the reason this work matters and continues to resolve. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. A lot of work, not only within the State Department of Agriculture, but with our partners and the municipal animal control officers. Our next speaker today is a leader who speaks for the voiceless across the state. You can sometimes find her at the Capitol, courthouse steps, community events, but no matter where you find her, you're going to find her wearing purple. And that is the one consistent thing. I'm really excited and happy that our friend from Desmond's Army could be here today for the work that they do on a day-to-day basis, filling a role that sometimes a state agency can't take on, but that is definitely needed. So Zilla, please come on up and share a little bit about Desmond's Army's work.
Thank you for having us here today. It's a great honor to be here and be able to speak. Just to reiterate, Desmond's Army is currently following, just in the month of April, 84 cases in court of animal cruelty. And those are only the cases that we know about. And I'll just reiterate that there is a well-documented link between animal cruelty and child cruelty. Studies consistently showing that violence towards animals often occurs with domestic violence, including children. As Desmond's Army often sees in court, abusers may harm or threaten pets as a means of controlling victims, making it more difficult for them to seek help or leave unsafe situations. Recognizing this critical connection Desmond's Army Animal Law Advocates is proud to announce we have expanded our mission to not only support animals, but also help the people who love them. As part of this effort, our organization now offers to pay up to $300 to a boarding facility for the first month of boarding costs for pets of domestic violence victims entering a licensed safe facility. This compassionate initiative helps remove a significant barrier for survivors, giving them the freedom to escape abuse without the fear of abandoning their pets. This initiative also teaches children that pets are important family members deserving protection from harm. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. This is a great program. Thank you for taking the initiative to think about the larger problem, how to solve it. Our final speaker here today is Governor Lamont. The governor's challenged each of us state agencies to work together, to collaborate, to work towards our shared missions. And so this is a great example of it, and to highlight not only the work that we're doing, but acknowledge that there is work to be done and encourage people to pay attention to these important subjects. So, Governor.
Ryan and Desmond's Army, for everything you do. Love when you say that's a part of our family as well. We look out for ourselves as a family, and I say that to the, and then I get the name side. How you treat pets is about our humanity as well. How we treat each other is about our basic humanity. You know, it's just a certain corseting of the culture out there right now. You see that reflected in language. You see that reflected in how we demonize or stereotype people. And it says a lot about you as how you treat your pets, how you treat your animals. And I think that's part of what we're here for today. I mean, coming out of COVID was really tough, and we lost contact with a lot of families because schools were often an early warning system. And we could see from that child, we had a window on what was going on at the home, whether there was abuse, whether there was addiction, and we lost some of that contact. And we paid a price for that. We're doing much better there than we were a few years ago. Another early warning system, as you heard from the folks behind me, is how people treat their pets. And if there's abuse, if there's cruelty, the home pet or harm or whatever, that often is an early warning signal that something is going wrong at the home. And we're doing everything we can to protect our kids, and we're doing everything we can to protect our pets because they both reflect on our common humanity. I think that's why we're here today. That's why they've announced the better coordination between the data, making sure that we can keep both our pets and our kids safe, and that's what today's about. Thanks, everybody.
Governor. And I just want to wrap up, again, thanking everybody for joining us today, especially Desmond's Army, coming out full force as you usually do, to be here and highlight this issue. But I just want to double down on what Ken had mentioned earlier. If you see something at a house with a child, with a family, call DCF. You can report anonymously. Same with animal cruelty. You can call the Department of Agriculture at 860-713-2506, or email us if you don't want to call at agr.animalcontrol@ct.gov. That's 860-713-2506 or agr.animalcontrol@ct.gov. We take all of those reports seriously. They are investigated either by us or by a municipal animal control officer. But that's one way that we can elevate some of the tools that are out there through today's message to make sure that everybody back home understands that there are ways to be helpful, that they have a chance to help those kids, those families, those elder parents or friends if there's a situation. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. I'm not sure, does anybody have any questions? I think we're staying on topic. Is that correct, Governor? Any questions?
Two questions, actually. The first one is for you, Commissioner Holbrook, and the other one is for Governor Lamont. The first question would be, I do FLI requests for over 14 years now through the Department of Agriculture for municipal animal control reports. And in the last 4 years, they've come back, 80% of them have come back clean, whereas before it was 100% full in the spreadsheet. I just wanted to know if you have any idea why that is, if that's going to be rectified anytime soon. And then my second question would be for Governor Lamont. We obviously have established the connection between animal abuse and domestic violence. And in the courts right now, a lot of cases are getting dropped. So my question to you would be, what is Connecticut doing to crack down on, or to acknowledge this connection in the courts and to crack down?
I can let Kelly answer the first one, and maybe Ken and I can take a stab at the second one, because we have been working with the legislature on this.
Sure. So 4 years ago, we changed how municipal animal control officers do their reporting. They're reporting statistics. Now, our licensing unit is currently working on finding where those deficits are and having them report those statistics that have not been reported on time. And then we're also addressing that with supervisors to make sure that statistics are reported on time.
I'll just add to Kelly's comments there. That's not intentional, so thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
We did shift. It was a JPEG or a PDF copy of a paper report that the first selectman or CEO of the town had to sign. We shifted to an electronic reporting system, recognizing that should give us better data. So the fact that we're receiving better data, but we're not able to move it out, we can definitely look into that. That is not intentional. With regards to the policy, I know we have been working with the legislature to highlight this, and Desmond's Army, I think, are champions of these causes, advocating at the state capitol. I think some of the challenges is making sure that we're not only here today with just this small group, but we are all at the Capitol talking to state legislators about why this is important, and making sure that they see the value in spending precious legislative time on these sorts of proposals. That's a challenge. It still is a challenge. Even though we're doing this work, even though we're holding these events, getting time on the legislative calendar doesn't always happen. So I think we can continue that effort, and I ask you guys to keep showing up and call your state legislator and explain why this is important. What happens when we don't intervene on that first level? So Ken, I don't know if you have anything else.
Sure. I think it's a great question. So I think we can answer it in two parts. So we know that when an act of violence occurs, there must be swift and clear accountability. The other side of that is services must then be offered and utilized to resolve why the violence occurred in the first place. And so if you don't have both of those components, what are we going to see? We're going to see repeat offenders over and over. And some of the stats that I gave, 70% of individuals who commit an act of violence, they're committing that act against an animal or a child or their spouse. Violence is inherent in their personalities. It's learned behavior, right? We don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to harm others. We have to get to the root of why that violence is occurring. What then I think happens in the criminal justice system, and again, I can tell you from my perspective from DCF, is that when the criminal justice system puts out orders that services are put into place, if they're utilized and if an individual shows progress, not just compliance, progress in addressing the root of the issue, that may then lead to a nollie on the legal end. Some may agree with that, some may not. But I wanted to stress that just an arrest and saying you did this without those supportive components is only going to allow that cycle to continue. And what do we see? We see intergenerational trauma. Little kids growing up, seeing their pets harmed and not understanding why and receiving supports. What's going to happen when they become adults? The greater the likelihood they're going to harm their spouse, they're going to harm their kids, they're going to harm their animals. So it's a very touchy subject, it's a complicated subject, and we recognize that. Connecticut has a tremendous array of supports that are given to DCF and our community providers with funding and budgets to get to the root of why individuals are coming to our attention, their attention, local, state and local police attention. So does that help? Perfect. And we can continue that conversation afterwards if it would help.
I might as well chip in since you asked me specifically. I do these events, to try and explain to people the good work that we're doing. State Animal Control Office, what it is and how it makes a difference. Connecticut Humane Society, ways that you can participate. What it means to be Desmond's Army and hold people accountable. And I also do this to get questions like the one you had. I don't know, but I will find out. I'll find out if the courts are not taking this as seriously as they should, why they're not. Brian's going to do that as well, and we talk to our legislators like Kerry Wood and see what else we should be doing. Thanks, everybody.
After on the legislative end, Kerry Wood is the head of the Animal Caucus.
Yeah.
I texted her this morning. She was not even aware that this was happening today. That's an oversight on somebody's part.
I will say we did let the legislators know they are in session today. They did have a 10:30 start for the House,
Yes.
and 11 a.m. for the Senate, so they had a